Welcome back, everybody, to Hearthstone Global Games 2019 Group B, which is the final group, because that's how B always works in the alphabet. And we have got New Zealand and China looking for the rights to play Thailand in the qualification match straight after this one. With me is Daruk, and he also has not seen these two teams in this tournament, but he saw a lot of them last year. Who do you fancy overall, Daruk?
That's right. New Zealand had a very good run here. It was honestly a very good run last year. Sorry, it was a little bit of a surprise. I think it's fair to say. We'd known at that point that this. She was known mainly as a streamer more than a competitor per se. And Jack Attack hadn't really had an especially good run quite as yet, or wasn't. Well, I mean, he had the tour stop victory, I suppose. But outside of that, he wasn't really well known outside of that win. But they did very, very well. They were playing some very, very strong Hearthstone. Whereas China, I think everyone expected to do pretty well given the depth of their talent.
Yeah, and it was the second year in a row that we were surprised by New Zealand. So I think at some point we have to stop being surprised by them and just accept that they're good. The pairing for China is Yu Yang and Lis, or RNG Lis, depending if you want to use his team name or not. And quite a lot of interesting stuff going on in that as well, especially in Seoul, where Lis was first in the Swiss and Yu Ying was last in the Swiss.
Pretty unimpressive.
But Yu Ying, of course, did play in Worlds, reaching the top 8 despite the unimpressive 328th place. And
it's just funny.
Yeah, it really is. He is the guy who sings, for those of you who remember anything about the World Championships but not remember names so well. When he's feeling angry in between games or whatever, he seems to calm himself down. This mage deck is N'Zoth Mage, basically. Talking of weird things.
Yeah, very different from South Korea's deck that we saw in the previous game, which felt honestly very underwhelming, going 0-3 pretty convincingly right at the start of the series. This Reno Highlander mage, however, I feel like has a much better shot of being able to take a win, because even if you're relying purely on the power of Zephyrus and Reno, you're going to win some games off the back of that.
Yeah, that's something that I didn't think was going to happen, like when we very first got a look at Zephyrus and the class Highlander cards, but
yeah,
turns out that all of them are good, because Zephyrus is good and the other one's usually good enough to fill that gap. Let's have a look at these lineups in general while we're waiting for this to unfold or explode into evolvey things. New Zealand have the N'Zoth Mage, Quest Shaman that is banned, the Satravar Druid, and N'Zoth Rogue, which I shall talk about more in a moment. China have got Rogue with Nomi in it. They've got their own evolved Shaman, their banned Druid, and they have a N'Zoth Warrior. But N'Zoth Rogue, Derek, while we're just waiting for things to happen here, is a deck that I don't like. It has one good matchup, but a terrible matchup as far as I can see.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of a meme in terms of the extent to which it can play N'Zoths. Nobody N'Zoths quite like N'Zoth Rogue N'Zoths.
But it does just beat N'Zoth Warrior. That's one of the key reasons to play it.
Sure.
It's like one of the highest win rates in all of Hearthstone of ever is N'Zoth Rogue versus N'Zoth Warrior. Yeah, because the Warrior cannot win.
What about her card?
Like
Does that ever win?
17%. No, because they've got Togwaggle Scheme and they put 1 million N'Zoths into their deck.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, you don't have to draw the scheme, but yeah,
that's the
like I say, it's a 17% win rate on HS Replay. I don't necessarily always quote their figures number for number, but nothing's ever 17.
Yeah. That's even worse than I would have guessed.
Yeah, it's just when I say it doesn't win in Hearthstone terms, that means it doesn't win.
I wonder.
But here with the Mage up against Shaman, this is a matchup that Gallon was saying he feels like the Shaman is ever so slightly favoured in. And to be fair, I have been known to be a big dumb idiot before, in which case I would explain why I don't beat the Mages all that much as Shaman. Because I have struggled as the token Shaman up against the Mage. I feel like, even though he is correct in saying that Soul of the Murloc is a very, very powerful card in the matchup to threaten the Bloodlust, it's not just about removal for Mage. Mage has good removal, but they also dominate the board pretty well in the mid game.
Yeah, and I know it's not the same deck, but it's one I have a lot more experience with, and I thought would even be better. I had the same experience with Quest Shaman against Mage, where I was also told I should be favoured, and I tell you what, I don't think you are. You have a lot of the same things going on. Obviously, the Soul of the Murloc's a big deal, but they freeze things, they blow things up, and then they kill you. I'm not saying it's one-sided. I don't think it is. It's very close, but I do actually like the Mage side of this equation myself.
So there's obviously some very big high rolls that could happen if RNG list, if we were to see Mogu mutate. Obviously Ragnaros being right up at the top of the pecking order there. But if you're not hitting those, there's a fair few duds that trade pretty poorly against an 8/8. It is protected though.
Yeah, I think that's the key here, because you've got 2 taunts up. You can't necessarily trust the Mage, but you're also out of options. No Country's Calling might be following up next turn, which we can see it is. So if you don't do something soon, and indeed, you might be in trouble.
Yeah, I really like leaving this as a 5/5 though. There was definitely thought to go Coin of Hope there, but if you are afraid of Country's Calling, which is I think what they're expecting to see here, they can just upgrade it again next turn. They don't need to go for it right now.
Yeah, and even worse, you might upgrade it to say a 6/6 and not have any taunts to protect it, and then you've just wasted this second Mogu. And as it happens, this hair that they've now drawn.
Oh yes.
And things would have been pretty horrible. Now everything goes nuts.
There's some question here as to whether you Giant or whether you Soul of the Murloc. It's probably actually better to go Soul of the Murloc, I think, just to give you a little bit more sustainability on the board. Yeah, I agree.
Because if this board sticks after the evolve, you probably win.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, you probably need a Giant. Analysis with Lurinda. What an absolute hodgepodge of rubbish.
Yeah. What have they got that's good?
Yeti.
Yeah, Yeti. I guess the
actually Blight Nozzle's not too bad.
It's okay. Yeah. I guess the thing is, do they coin? Yeah. I like the coin here as well to draw a card. That definitely seems more valuable here to me than an extra mana.
Yeah, I agree.
Obviously, Crystal Merchant, when you have spare mana at the end of the turn, draws a card, which is why the coin came down there.
And they are in a hurry. They're dying in a hurry. They're winning in a hurry. Everything's a bit of a hurry.
Yeah. And Patra thinks, oh no, this Flame Strike doesn't look particularly good. Oh wait, why would I ever do that? Freeze the board, conjure the minions, easy peasy. Shaman is done.
Yeah, why play 2 of everything when you can draw it with only 1 of everything in your deck? That's what I want to know.
The frog just board locks them hilariously. I mean, it did make a difference. They'd lost anyway there. But it's just kind of funny that now they just can't play a single minion.
Absolutely locked out of the game. And you win this one, friend. 1-0. New Zealand once again. I know, surprising the odds, I guess, because I think China would be favourites for this.
Yeah, I think that's just about fair to say. You know, I don't know. It's kind of the same problem that I had with Patra throughout all of Grandmasters, where you kind of have to let the results speak for themselves for a bit, in that she has had a pretty unimpressive year in terms of competitive results. But I also have to let what I actually saw affect my decision making or my impression, which is to say, I liked a lot of Patra's lineups and I liked a lot of Patra's play as well. Like, she wasn't just unlucky. There were things that she had to improve on for sure. But it does just feel kind of indicative of the, you know, I think they're not that unfavourite, is what I'm trying to say. I think Jack Attack and Patra are two definitely not top tier players when we're breaking it down to the absolute best of the best, but very, very strong in their own right.
Yeah, and that was more a reflection on China's strength and New Zealand's weakness. Jack Attack, talking of people who don't get very lucky, has made 15 top 8s for Masters Tours, and I believe he didn't actually qualify through a win, although he qualified through numerous top 8 losses. He didn't qualify for win at all in any of those 15.
He just got 15 top 8s. I mean, that's almost
15
more impressive.
top 8. It's insane. He had a 66% win rate And he played, in case you're thinking he hasn't played much Hearthstone, 458 best of threes this year.
I wonder.
Okay.
This is a
fair
guy
enough.
who is up to speed with everything.
That is a lot.
Yeah,
I don't think I could
66%
physically
best
do
of
that.
threes as well. Yeah, that's one of the highest win percentages of anyone who's got like over 100 matches behind them. Because best of threes are, you know, quite difficult
Best
to really get huge eggs. Yeah,
Yes.
and he got 66%. He won 2/3 of that 458 matches in best of threes. That's good going. Just didn't win the ones that mattered.
Yeah.
And he did get a fairly decent result at the, I think it's 7-5 in Vegas as well. So a decent result there when he did get to the big one.
Not bad. But for the
onto
moment,
the game.
yeah, exactly. Shaman versus Druid here. It's a perfectly fine start for the Druid. You know, no Crystal Merchant as of yet, but not being completely overrun on the board. Whereas for the Shaman here, gets a little bit more confusing, in all honesty. Do they play out the Frog here? They have a Zap, but potentially they want to be going for that while the Thunderhead is in play. So they could delay the whole operation by a turn.
Yeah, it's always... I think against the Druid, you know you've got a bit of time, so delaying isn't so bad as some of the delays. And no, they're going to go for it.
Okay.
I could definitely see delaying it there, though.
I think I'm okay with this. Like, even if they were to just go for Thunderhead, zap their own Frog on this turn, that's something to consider because it starts to make the beginnings of a nice wide board, which is how they obviously are able to stick the Giant on the following turn, hopefully, or in a couple turns.
No, you're right, actually. The Druid completes next turn, so delaying it would have been messing. I was a turn off in my counting. Never was good with numbers. But you've got to do things, I think. Does zapping... The trouble is with zapping your own Frog, and I think I do like it overall, is it guarantees the Druid can kill it. If you don't zap it, the Druid would need a Wrath to be able to do that and progress the quest. I still think I like the zapping though, because if you don't do it, you can zap your Thunderhead, I guess.
No, I think I like zapping the Frog here. I want to keep the Thunderhead alive.
Actually, what kills the Thunderhead if you zap it though?
Swipe. Like,
Sure,
yes, they have
but then
late return or low T, but I think it's really important to keep the Thunderhead alive here. Because the game plan at the moment isn't necessarily to win by Evolve, it's to win by sticking a Giant, I think.
Okay. Sure, that's fair.
Problem now, of course, is too many minions in play for RNG list. He goes for the Voltaic Burst, while that makes a nice big board. He has no room to actually play anything at that point.
Oh, but then you can Lightning Bolt one of them.
Yeah, Lightning Bolt might help, though.
I'm not actually sure how much I'm memeing there. Well, I'm memeing a lot because there's no Evolve. Yeah.
Right, okay, so Bolt Face, I guess, is a good starting point. If you want to play the Mogu. Does that allow for Sea Giant? Goes down to 5? No, not quite. Yeah, I don't think Giant is ever playable on this turn.
The trouble with the Mogu, though, is it's just a card that dies to Druid cards.
It does just die to Druid cards. I mean, honestly, everything kind of loses here.
Yeah. If, however, they had delayed the Frog, and they would be in a bad spot if they had, they would now have the much better board state available to them.
Right, this is the da-da-da-da, please no Starfall play, and it's going to be met with the da-da-da-da Starfall play.
Yeah.
There we go.
Not even thought in the matter. Not even a second to consider whether they just want to swipe instead.
Kill this board.
Spend your mana, play a thing, kill a board, win the game.
Yeah, this is looking very over.
And they can't even play the Mogu.
Yeah, I mean, okay, maybe if they go Mogu and they hit Tyrion or Rag or something, and sorry, they can stick a giant, you know, okay. But they, you know, that has to be next turn, obviously, which is not even good. It all looks grim.
Yeah, yes it does. Oh, you can't be this far behind Druid on turn 5. It's not allowed. It's actually straight against the rules. Because it doesn't get any better usually. In case there was any doubt, scenarios can be kept back just in case of some sort of emergency.
Jewels of the Sands.
One thing that New Zealand, and you can see it going on here as well, did very well in both of the previous 2 editions is the communication. See, Jack is... I mean, not that Jack is quiet very often anyway. But he's communicating with Pathfinder a lot here.
Yes, he is quite the gregarious fellow.
Mortals are so squishy. Put your faith in the light.
Okay. That's
You
a
have
good
it too.
one. That's... Yeah, that's not going to do anything, actually. I don't know.
I mean,
Like,
keep on their toes.
I suppose. But Jack Attack, like a ballerina, is very swift and
his
nimble
toes.
on his toes. Yeah.
Incredibly swift, in fact.
Okay, Sea Giant comes down. Okay. Hero Power, Sea Giant, or I guess you probably rather have to lick him. Lick him doesn't actually do anything.
I
Okay,
wonder.
Hero Power, Sea Giant, Evolve. Although you probably don't, like, you have to live in such a, like, dream world here.
Uh-huh. Do I live?
So maybe the only way you win is if you evolve into what's the best 9 drop. There's not really anything, is there? Yeah, okay, just save the evolve.
Yeah, Tyrion's kind of as good as you're getting. It's 15 damage
Yeah.
from Ashbringer in the dream
Yeah,
world
yeah.
where I live.
Even if it was King Crush or Burly Shovel Fist or something like that, it's still just worse.
My dream world is a happy place. You should definitely pay attention to it. So
don't wanna
Loti
think what
into
your
any
dream
of
world
these
is.
millions of removals.
Yep.
Just kill the things, try and keep a taunt up, win the game.
Like Loti, Swippity Swipe,
What?
Power.
trade it in, and then Wrath, like even that 100% wins the game.
Swippity swipe. Yep, you've been swippity swip.
Time waits for no one.
Oh, even Swipe Space. Perfect damage utilization.
They are on the case.
Well, actually, not perfect damage utilization. They could have rushed in the Loki and got 4 more to face. But either way, that's definitely still game winning. China can concede right here.
But will they? They still have a hero power and a prayer. And this has got to be a card that doesn't exist at this point.
Like, what's
Evolved
the best
into...
Millhouse?
Well, what's the best card it could be in the entirety of Hearthstone, let alone 2-drop? Let's just say, have Ragnaros, we don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Have
Like Colossus of the Moon. Still do.
Yep, just in case you thought you weren't going to lose, here's another hint.
Yeah, and it is going to be a 2-0 start here for Jack Attack and New Zealand, which is obviously a fantastic way to get the ball rolling. They will be, if they win the next game in this series, assuming this is a win.
You win this.
There we go.
It is indeed
If they win
2-0.
the next game in this series, they'll be going on to face Thailand in the upper bracket. of this group, the winner of which will, of course, be advancing through to the top 16. And if they lose, they'll be facing South Korea a little bit later on today. But it is just looking pretty good for New Zealand. However, they still got that rogue does just seem to be the weak point again and again and again.
Yeah, and this isn't just that rogue that is sometimes a bit weak. This is N'Zoth rogue, which is designed to be bad. It's actually just a bad deck. However, it is pretty good against Warrior, so wonder how that will turn out if we get to that game. We'll find out in just those 3 minutes. Quick start to the match between New Zealand and China, with New Zealand once again in HCG dashing out to an early lead. They did lose to China in last year's edition in the later group stages, but obviously China a totally different team. New Zealand, however, Pathra and Jack Attack both last year. Pathra on the team the year before, and every time she has managed to get this team to be very successful, especially relative to what people thought they would do. But being successful and playing this rogue deck, I am going to get so much telling off from Jack Attack and Pathra when they see this, but I want to know why you bring this rogue deck to anything. But it does destroy Warrior, and there is a Warrior to be destroyed, but not yet. First of all, we've got a chance at just winning rogue versus rogue.
Yeah, it is a weird deck indeed. You know, when you look at any kind of a deck that could, you know, if you look at the top half of the deck, it could pass as a bad tempo rogue, right? You know, you've got a couple of weird cards in there like Togwaggle Scheme, the Shivs, but it's not that bad, right? It's got most of the givings of just a regular old tempo rogue. Then you look at the bottom and there's just a whole load of gubbins in there that doesn't fit the playstyle at all.
Yeah, and I find one deck every week to be rude about, and this is my deck of the week for being rude about. I mean, it isn't too bad. Okay, so let's take in the optimist side. Is you're not that far off from 50-50 against most things because you have rogue cards like you just described, and against warrior you are almost unbeatable. That is the other way, the optimist way, the Falcone way of viewing it. I don't know what he thinks of this deck. It's just his general optimism about everything.
Sure.
So I can see, I guess, when you try and frame it that way, why you would do it. And I'm interested to see how to find out, because I've got to admit, despite my dislike for it, I haven't played a great deal of this deck. I've played against it a bit, but usually when I put decks down, I am surprised by how good they are afterwards.
Well, I mean, you know, you say despite thinking this deck sucks, it's more because you think this deck sucks you haven't played a lot of it.
That one thing actually isn't true. I tend to play the decks I think suck to find out why I'm wrong.
Okay,
but on this occasion, I'm largely watching to find out why I'm wrong.
Ooh, right. Nice even start for both players, neither one running away too quite so dominant at the start quite yet. Obviously, Edwin only needs a touch more mana, and he'll be able to do some pretty disgusting things. But I must be honest, I was a little bit surprised to not see Coin Miscreant on the previous turn. Like, I fully understand the thinking that you want Coin for Edwin, but outside of the lackeys off of Evil Miscreant, I feel like you're going to be struggling to make a big Edwin anyway at some point in the game.
Yeah, it's not your normal rogue on rogue clash as the regular rogue, the tempo rogue. You're looking to get some stuff out, and I wonder if they're being distracted a little bit by the Edwin here.
Yeah.
Because if this game goes longer,
Sorry, finish your point.
No, you go. I want to know what cards I need to have.
I was going to say, do you have any of those cards you wish were just in standard for certain classes? Even though, just because you love them as a card. So, like for me, I feel like Pulsefind Slayer, I really, really like it, and I wish that was just a standard rogue card.
Yeah, that's actually, I mean, I can't think of it off the top of my head. I will think about that as we go, but it seems like a really good example to start off with. Slayer is indeed pretty tasty. How about Evolve? No, let's not go there. I do value the little bit of credibility I have left.
Like, it was just it was a powerful card. It was a very roguey card. It fit the theme very well.
Yeah, I can actually agree with your thoughts on that. I just can't, off the top of my head, magic another one up. But I'm just looking at this Myra's Nomi, by the way. That's a thing that's going to happen at some point sooner rather than later.
It is indeed. Maybe one of the reasons why they're holding on to the coin, because even though it seems like a bit of a joke, a very, very powerful combo. What you can do with this hand, something I did a lot back in the Rise of Shadow days, is just go Myra's on 5, coin Nomi on 6, and if the deck doesn't have an answer, you win.
Yeah, and this is the sort of deck. I mean, it is to all intents and purposes the same deck, like you said, for the first few turns. Now we're seeing the differences. Yeah. And they will know if it works, having tested it far more than me. But I feel you just go Myra's Nomi. Yeah, that's my instinct.
You probably deviate now with that pickup, right? You've got Ferocat Eviscerate Coin Edwin, and then you can just go Myra's on 5. Myra's on 6, sorry, into Nomi on 7.
Yeah, it's almost, if it's close to being as good as a Nomi anyway, you can still do it.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Preparation.
Yeah, if they hadn't got the prep, this would be looking a little bit scary. Because, I mean, you know, they'd be tanking a fair bit of damage from the 4-5 and whatever's developed on the following turn from Jack Attack. I don't know, I feel like this line was actually a little bit risky when they could have gone for the same sort of thinking. Just big Edwin on this turn, then you play Myra, and then you play Nomi one turn later, but it's just very strong.
Yeah, that's my instinct, but I'm just I am going to do that thing you said I'm not going to do anymore, where I'm going to trust that they've tested this and that this is just the way
Okay.
forward.
Sure. Yeah. I mean,
if you're asking me to make what my instinct says, I would agree with you.
like I'm talking about very, very slim chances that they can lose. I agree with
Yeah.
their fundamental thinking that if they do this play, they very, very likely win this game with Hearthstone.
Precision. Perfection.
Yeah, going the other way, it gives your opponents no chance to do any sort of tog waggle shenanigans by doing it really quickly. But we will see, because already some of these things have been dealt with.
Yeah, there is now only obviously 24 damage on board, 30 with the Leroy, but no way to get Ziliax quite yet. Probably won't matter. It should just be a win anyway.
There are 2 Shadow Steps in China's deck, which may have influenced their decision as well. Of which they hit 0 when they did the thing.
Yeah, I think that's the thing as well, though, is they were very unlikely to. Whereas if they delayed
So emptying
for a
the
turn,
hand, sure.
right, they would have been more likely to hit it.
Yeah, that's fair.
But either way, I'm seeing on this turn probably questing Cat Edwin.
Yeah, now you've done the Nomi thing, you definitely don't have to rush into just playing back down the chocolate pudding. I think it's a grease elemental. Falk and I had this discussion. But
Yeah, Grease.
I decided I'd rather it was a chocolate pudding.
Well, the only options on this turn, right, are questing Pharaoh Cat Edwin, which I probably like the most, or Waggle Pig, get it down, take out the 3-2, push everything base, and then place it on this.
Yeah, just hit them.
Brotherhood shall come.
Edwin becoming a grease elemental. And I don't think we learned anything in this particular game of Hearthstone about the N'Zoth Rogue, to be fair.
Yes. So what is there? There's trade of this, yeah, cartouche, the only line. And, you know, to be fair, it takes off a fair bit of damage from the board.
Yes and no.
But not...
Leroy in hand would be plenty.
Well, I mean, in... Okay,
actually,
well, I
yeah,
was going to say,
well,
in this case, it was wrong to trade into the questing, because then you only have to play 2 cards to bring up to lead. So I think, no matter what the turn it was pretty much guaranteed 100%, given any reasonable hand you could have played. And even though I was wondering, you know, maybe China could have gone for a slight optimization, like their line maybe left them dead to like double a Vis from the hand or some stupid little play like that. I think I agree with you overall. The thinking was good. This just wins 99% of the time.
And that was the plan they clearly made from turn 2, keeping back that coin and having the 5-6 Bosh Bish. So game number 3 will be that same N'Zoth Rogue deck again. This time I'm going to predict it's against the Shaman. We know the Warrior's the
For
top.
Doomhammer.
Yes.
And indeed it is.
What do you know? And it looks to me like, hey, a pretty good hand up against any deck, let alone N'Zoth Rogue, which can struggle with some kind of early game removal. Honestly, I think I would like to see Lickim and Sludge Slurper both thrown away here. I think they're both fine early game tools, but I think you want to find Evolve, Hair, 0 mana spells, second Mogu, things of that nature.
Yep. Agree
Perfect.
entirely, and they agree with you. And whenever that argument is made, it's even stronger when you have the coin. That's just how the numbers work out as much as anything.
Well, the thing is as well, like Sludge Slurper when you're going first against Rogue is something you consider keeping, because they can't just dagger it down straight away. But considering their turn 2 is dagger the majority of the time, when you're on the coin, Sludge Slurper is horrible versus Rogue.
Yeah. And also the coin helps with your frog. There's so many little interactions that you can say it's better for.
There is little time.
Yep. No reason to play the novice there. Just get the dagger loaded up. Get as many undestructible things on the board as you can. And the dagger's an indestructible thing in terms of killing off opposing minions. Not attacking with it. Expecting to see it get plenty of use, of course, against this Shaman deck.
Yeah, nice easy bit of development as well for you. You can use hero power here. Probably Frog on 3, but depending on their top deck, they may delay it for a turn because that's one of the real benefits of playing against the Zoth Rogue is you're not under that much pressure most of the time. You can afford to take it that little bit slower.
Yep. A fairer looking game so far though this time than Zoth Rogue. Just doing rogue things for now. The difference really comes on turn 6 with Cartoot, etc.
I think I like hero power here.
I wonder.
Interesting.
Like, you know, Frog is good here, but I want to go for like a really powerful turn, which means either Thunderhead plus Frog plus a bunch of Overload spells, or guarantee that Mogu can come down with the Evolve. Which, you know, if your opponent goes for a doesn't develop that much and you don't hit the Voltaic Burst, maybe you miss the Mogu completely from being able to be played with the Evolve. I don't know. I don't hate playing the Frog here, but I think you could maybe have got away with saving it for a turn.
Well, the Mogu might get to come down anyway at this rate.
Oh yeah, I mean this is the dream for Shaman, honestly. Like, this much development is not what I was expecting from Jack Attack.
It's called Attack for a reason.
So.
Yeah, this
works out so gorgeous.
Yeah. How many nice things would you like? Oh my goodness.
So with the
All
burst,
of
this
the
could actually
things.
be a lightning storm turn. You could
Okay.
go burst, moat, lightning storm, evolve. It's probably pretty good actually, right? Like, you're not going to get much better of a board than this.
I wonder.
And what are they going to
It
do at
overloads you.
Thunderhead, Burst, Mogu, and just...
Maybe it's not worth it. I guess you can clear off most stuff anyway. It would only clear off the... Okay, yeah. So I take it back. I don't think it is a lightning storm turn. I think instead it's a Soul of the Murloc turn because you can trade in the 1/1s and go with a Mogu anyway. So yeah, it's probably
Yeah,
There's little time.
the big difference is just getting Soul of the Murlocs.
yes.
Waters are so squishy.
So far, no actual mana spent, just the coin. Seems fair.
All right, not bad at all. I'm going to take a quick look at the list actually for Yu Ying, because if he's playing 2 Lightning Storms, I think I would have played that turn differently. No, just the one. Okay, that's fine, because he could have considered going for Soul of the Murloc first and then double trade in the 1/1s, which would have drawn him the second Lightning Storm, but he only has one, so I am fine with this play.
So many options.
This is the part of the game where you start getting punished a little bit in the Zoth Rogue. You're lacking the Blink Fox type cards.
Yeah, that's right. Vendetta would be huge here.
After this turn, you start getting back on track again with your Cartoot and your big stuff, but this is the hole in the game plan. For me, at least. Again, I am expecting and will accept gracefully the hate mail from New Zealand and explain what they're doing.
Choose soon.
So one thing's for sure, this is a strong team. They will have reasons for why they chose this deck. Maybe they fancied that they just could take down all the warriors, for instance, and there would be a lot in the group.
If there hadn't been such a strong clear here, I think we would be very possibly looking at a Hero Power plus Soul of the Murloc to set up full Stormbringer next turn. But because there's only 1 minion in play, I agree. Get the Thunderhead down. If it sticks, you're ecstatic. If it doesn't, you're probably still winning anyway.
And that's why this Shaman deck is so oppressive. It's, if the game plan fails, it's got another game plan. If that fails, it's probably got another one as well. It's not as one-dimensional. Like, even Druid is quite one-dimensional, and that's got the most varied picks of any deck. But this Shaman deck, it feels one-dimensional when you first pick it up and probably lose your first couple of games with it, if you've never seen it played or never played it. And then you soon realise, actually, it is just nuts.
So I think I want to set up for Yu Ying a Stormbringer on the following turn. So what is the best way to do that? I guess I'm seeing Lightning Bolt, Hero Power, Soul of the Murloc. Sets that up pretty well. Also sets up
Yeah.
for maybe just Bloodlust.
Shall we make a storm?
Or you could just forego the Soul of the Murloc.
There's so many choices each turn.
It's a little weak to Fan of Knives. But I guess if you're trading it, this
No.
is
Yeah, and turn 7, even if you did leave up some 1/1s, not a turn you really want to play Fan. It leaves you with 4 mana, which is like your bogey number almost in this deck. But they traded them off anyway.
yeah, I'm fine with this. So there's already, what, 18 damage available on the following turn with a
Yeah.
Bloodlust, which obviously makes Jack Attack a little scared to go for Lackey plus Togwaggle. But honestly, I don't think anything else wins. Like, he needs to start doing something miraculous here, and I think Togwaggle's the best way to do so.
Yeah, you don't need to scheme and all that sort of nonsense. And I actually want this to go to game 5 because I want to see what happens. Firstly, why the warrior is so oppressed by the rogue, but also
Yeah.
I want to see what happens in the situations where they don't draw the scheme early. Because the only time I've ever seen it, scheme's been drawn in the opener, and then it's a joke. The rogue
Yes.
is basically never losing. But I am curious why the win rate is quite so high if the scheme isn't in the top 25 cards.
What to do?
Right. Lightning Storm, Soul of the Murloc probably locks out the game, right?
Yeah, I say yep like that because I was sort of under the impression the game was pretty close to being locked out already. But you're right, it's not.
Yes. Yeah. Like,
So,
it's
yeah, Lightning
very,
Storm,
very
Soul of the
famous
Murloc.
for the Shaman, but there's a chance for the Rogue, I feel like.
No, I think you're
Like,
right.
if they were to chain Death Rattles into N'Zoth, you know, maybe.
Little time.
Yeah, you don't need to use the evolve or anything because you can use that another time
Yeah.
if you have any sort of emergency going on and desperately need a rush minion or something.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, I guess this is better against double Fan of Knives. So this is actually probably just a better play. Sets up lethal very, very likely on the following turn.
Hard for New Zealand to. First of all, they're not going to play around Bloodlust because there's no point.
I have no time.
Not consciously, at least. If they get the chance, they will. But I feel like they just can't even play around it.
Yep.
Oh, they're going to bump off the Sylvanas. Okay.
Right. And then they die.
No. Then they play Applebaum,
Okay.
and then they die.
And then they die.
They're going to eviscerate the 5/2 first. You don't want to steal that thing.
Yeah.
And then you trade in the Sylvanas.
Into what? Do you want it to die?
Yeah,
I guess
want
you
to
have
steal
to.
things.
It has to die, yeah.
But you need to fan first, otherwise you might steal silly Murlocs.
I mean, he had to play the Applebaum, right? Or he's dead.
Yeah.
And he went with the
And
attack
then-
in that order because he was hoping to steal the Vicina, even though I think that was probably a slightly incorrect order. It does not matter. That's game.
And then you die.
Yeah. And then
Pretty rapid way to get to 2 games apiece. But now we're going to get to the highlight match that you definitely will have wanted when they bring in this lineup. They're going to get the Quest Rogue versus the N'Zoth Warrior. Sorry, N'Zoth Warrior.
that's right.
Same results. An absolutely overwhelmingly one-sided match. And I'd like to see New Zealand do well here, but I'd also like them not to draw the scheme because I want to see how it pans out when you don't.
For science.
For science, indeed.
Yeah. You know, in these matchups where one player is overwhelmingly. I can't help but root for the underdog because you just want to see how can it go wrong, what can you possibly do to win in this position. But I definitely agree. It feels very, very likely that New Zealand are going to come away the justified victors here.
Down to the guy who holds up everyone on the motorway when there's a crash, driving past, having a bit of a poke around. See what's going
If
on
I
in
could
that mess.
drive, then maybe. Thankfully for you, I can't.
Okay. Yeah, that would be terrifying. So they haven't
Scourge
drawn
of
the
the
scheme.
highway.
Let's see how they win.
Yeah, all right. They got novice though, which is a nice bit of early draw. And honestly,
so I
I'd say
don't
the
think we actually
warrior
said
has
how it
a.
wins.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't think we've actually explained what happens. Basically, the very short version is the rogue plays N'Zoth and it plays Kartuts like all the other N'Zoth decks you know and love.
Mm-hmm.
And then it gets Togwaggle's scheme and plays a deck full of N'Zoths. I think we
Well,
did
first
actually
we
see
Shadow
it
Step.
one.
Shadow
Sorry,
Step
and you
is step
Shadow
1, right?
Yeah.
So that you have the mana to Togwaggle scheme it. But yes, essentially.
Yes.
I hope you
We did
have
actually see it during week 1, and I don't remember insulting it quite so greatly, but that's because I was so gobsmacked that they were playing it. Let's find out who that was.
That's probably worth a Shadow Step on the novice, right? I mean, again, I am no
Right.
expert at this deck at all. I've not played any of this deck on ladder at all. And maybe Jack Attack knows it well enough to say, we don't need to draw through our deck. Our natural draw is quick enough to win the game. To which I would say, yeah, fair enough. That sounds reasonable.
Yeah.
What now?
Presumably they need it for later. Thing is, the warrior is almost never going to kill you quickly, so you just don't need to hurry anything. I also think it's interesting that whenever, certainly me, but I think nearly anybody plays a new deck, you play the cards too quickly in terms of time, and the more you know about a deck, the less you play the cards.
Mm-hmm.
The more you know how much you can just do nothing. One thing for sure, this
Shadow
isn't a deck
Steps
you...
picked up now, though. That's got to
Mhm.
be tempting to get one of those down.
So many options.
Talking of team synergy, as they choose not to do that again, I think Pathra Jack Attack is probably a pretty good team. You need to be fairly strong-willed to be around Jack for a length of time,
That is true.
and Pathra I think probably has that ability to sort of put him into place when needed.
Man, what does it tell you about this matchup? The Control Warrior is chipping away for 1 damage at a time because it needs to be the aggressor that badly.
Yeah, it's pretty revealing, isn't it?
Oh, look at this. They can get 1 to face with the Acolyte on this turn. In 26 more turns, they'll be soaring to the moon. Oh, no, wait, make that.
Yeah, it's not like the rogue can armor up every turn.
Yeah, exactly. How do they
29
heal?
is here to stay. Because no one plays Rotten Apple Bomb anymore. But wait, what is that I see? So we are going to get the interesting version of this where there's no scheme. This makes me happy.
Right.
Another point incoming. You scared yet?
Right, 29 more turns like this, and oh no, wait, okay, make that 30 again. 30 more turns like
Yeah.
this, and Yu Ying is soaring to a victory.
They've only got to get through 2 MC techs and eviscerate the cable rat, a couple of
Worth.
shadow steps, and then the next, however long that takes to get rid of all those cards as well.
I wonder when we will see the Hecklebot come down as well, because it's got to be said that Hakar is a consideration for Yu Ying that could win the game later on, but I feel like the best chance he has of taking this game just outright is, of course, N'Zoth with the Hecklebot. Which actually, interestingly enough, maybe that's one of the reasons why Jack Attack is saving both copies of Shadow Step, because if N'Zoth is pulled but can't be killed, you need to step it back, and then the game's back on track.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense. And also, I think it's just down to the fact he's clearly aware, and we're seeing it really as it goes on. They're just going to draw cards organically because nothing's
Yes.
happening.
Pretty much.
And he's probably more aware of that than we were. I mean, it made sense to me. But it does just seem like the deck is, in this matchup, is going to get so many cards. Including the next novice if it comes to it. In reality. Minion is played of some note.
It's not bad.
Yeah, get yourself some lackeys to while away the wee hours until you get your scheme and your N'Zoth. Something to keep you occupied.
Yeah, we all know that having something to keep you occupied while playing competitive Hearthstone games always works out great.
Looking forward to see what these next two lackeys are.
I wonder.
Jack's got a dartboard.
Choose suit.
Is that what that is?
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
that's a
I'm
big
rather
room.
confused.
Isn't it? Oh, everybody is though. Like everybody's bloody shut down. I was going to say I am too, but actually the answer is just apart from a select few hundred people in the world, the game's impossible.
Yeah, it is actually impossible.
See, we didn't even get the obligatory person in chat saying, no, it's not, I'm really good, I have an average of 20.
Just give it a second. They'll come.
What now?
Yeah, say
If
it and
claim
they will
it.
come.
They will come, yeah.
So,
Right. We're all waiting on the Hecklebot, of course, to come down at some point, but this could be a case of what trade
now?
Dynamatic. It leaves a 1/1 miscreant. But
yeah, more importantly for them, it gives them a 3/4 aggressive minion to start piling in the damage. Is that convincing?
yes, very convincing.
Oh,
Right,
okay.
scheme time. There it is. Start juicing it up.
Dance Marathon has an average of 180, which is actually impossible. Because the highest average you get is only 500 divided by 3. 501 divided by 3.
Oh. Yes.
Sorry, man, don't believe you.
Should we talk about this game instead?
Oh, sorry, is it still going on? Yeah. Just waiting for that Hecklebot. What is the timing, do you think? Obviously,
I think it's one of those
you've
things.
got to
that's
get
not-
lucky whatever you do.
Choose
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. There's no real skill behind it. Like the chance of being the top card of the 30th card, N'Zoth, that is obviously equally likely. Once they play it, step it, shuffle it back in, it's a matter of one because they've got 30 of them in the deck at that point.
Yeah. And New Zealand doing a good job, in fairness, of just keeping some stuff on board. That's the it is all lackey based, but that's kind of what the deck does. How tempting is Coin Boom here, just to start getting some actual hero powers? Because your armor total is completely irrelevant. When you lose to cut by 1,000
Yeah.
N'Zoths.
I mean, honestly, I feel like their best chance at this point may be. Oh no, I was gonna say Mechathune, but with Elysian in hand, that's just not a thing. It's just not a thing at all.
Yeah, discovering a minion that does something is probably quite a high priority here.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking with discovering Mechathune, but like, I'm pretty sure that's impossible to win that way.
Oh, I love that fuse thing.
Woo.
Yeah.
So now we're waiting on. Oh, he's hovering the Hecklebot. Is it time?
It's just incredibly inconsequential board battle at the moment. Like, Rogue's not winning with pressure early on, and neither is Warrior. It's a stalemate at the moment.
Hecklebot, shield block, shield slam would kill a N'Zoth should it appear. They do have Togwagger in their deck as well, by the way, do New Zealand.
Yeah,
So
that's true. That would be a good hit. That would be a good hit.
it's not a million N'Zoths. It's not the end of the world if it's something
This
else.
would be a good time for a master plan.
All right, let's go.
Face me, you inept ingrate.
What's it going to be? It's a cable that.
Nothing. Right,
There
that
goes our
definitely
commentary.
in the what is it they have in like chess games and other games sometimes where it's like they have a computer thing of who's most likely to win. It just swung
Yep.
drastically towards New Zealand.
The evaluation.
Yeah, that's the one.
The evaluation of this game has just gone New Zealand's way even more.
Because honestly, there's not really many other randomly generated factors that can help Yu Ying here. It's obviously he could make another Hecklebot, which would be the premium way he has to win, or find Hakar as quick as he humanly can.
Yeah, remember how I used to say that you don't have to play Ultimate Infestation on 10 just to annoy you?
Right.
Well, I'm going to say every game this next 3 weeks, you could play Elysiana and try and find some different cards to help you win. That's the
honestly,
way I want
I
this season.
feel like a quick Elysiana might be their best shot. Like, you know, if they want to win with Mechathune, if
another
they can find
Hecklebot.
Mechathune off of Elysiana, then we're talking.
Yep. Obviously, there are still the Hakar options that you discussed, and that probably makes sense, but
Probably better, yeah.
it does get to the point. I'm surprised we don't see more early Elysianas in some Warrior games, put it that way.
Yeah.
But this is the most unwinnable of them all. Do it! Go on! Like the demon on the shoulder. Just do it! What could go wrong?
Just
You're going to lose
do it.
anyway.
I mean, they are going to lose anyway.
Just get yourself a whole deck full of Alarma bots and Yetis and things you just don't need. It's different to this deck full of other things you just don't need. But yes, I think you're right. I think you've got to wait till you've got Hakar before making that bold play. Sadly, for my
And also N'Zoth as well, because if the rogue does, if the rogue has N'Zoth bottom card, maybe when you play
Sure.
N'Zoth,
Yeah, no, I think that's also true. But
Well,
by Jingo, it's taking a while to get there.
Yes. Yes, yes.
I have no time for games.
Uh-huh. I guess from the perspective of somebody trying to make this interesting, Jack Attack is starting to run low on cards now. So it is possible the Warrior can actually put some pressure on. Don't know how much pressure that would be, but you know, 9 a turn would be an amount of pressure they could probably apply.
Sure. All right,
there's
there we go.
Zoth.
There's
So now
the
the game's actually on. Now there's a chance of this going against the grain.
Yep, we have a game plan now.
Cartoot this turn, Nazoth next turn, hit them.
Yep.
And throw in some hero powers in between just to make some 1/1s, because why wouldn't
Okay,
you
then.
want micro bots?
So if I'm remembering correctly, Reborn always triggers before Death Rattle, right? I think that was the order. So
Yes.
yeah, so there is obviously the potential for the Sylvanas to always steal something.
Okay.
It's not a huge deal, but you know, could matter.
It's something to talk about while we're waiting. Micro bots sounds like something you get in, like, I don't know, wash powder. Now with added micro bots, gets it even cleaner than before. Please, something happen.
Tombs.
Yeah, we are actually in the game on part of this.
Yeah.
As you can hear.
Sorry.
Alright. Trade some stuff in, make some Nazoth, and hope to kill your opponent.
Love it. All right, the tempo play. It's time. This is gonna win.
Uh-huh.
Oh, look at that big juicy border minion.
That actually is a big juicy board of minions.
Wow! Mind control tech slams onto the board, steals the Cartoot defender. What a swing!
I think we lost him, kids. Taken a while, but we finally broke Derek. But they could definitely something happen. So they want to save the shadow set for their Nazoth, but
They do.
they'd dearly love to shadow set the MC Tech here.
I don't think you can afford that.
There is severe danger of actually losing this.
All right. Okay. I'm interested.
They have 12 cards. They're going to take a beating next turn. It's looking tough.
So many options.
Oh, he's shuffling
now they've got-
their Nazoth in.
Yeah.
Ah.
For those tricky times. Yeah. Somebody in chat actually won the Warrior side of this by getting Mojo Master Z Heat from their Iniciano, they say.
Oh, really?
That's actually kind of fun. Shout out to Zaldeth. for that
Well,
one.
I guess that's a chance then. So if we were to see, there's no mechs that can rush in. What about trade your Snip Snap, Plague of Wrath, Warpath? That allows you to push 11 damage, but they've healed up for 6 at that point. Yeah, it just doesn't do anything.
I mean, Dynamatic and Get Lucky I quite like. Not even joking. Like,
Okay.
hit your opponent's side, don't hit your stuff, and if you get lucky, you get a lot of damage through.
Holy moly.
Like that.
I've never seen such a clown fiesta of a turn as just play the Dynamatic.
Just launch some stuff, see what
That is
happens.
just straight up and down. I do not know what the heck to do. I'm just going to leave this one up to RNG.
But they have got New Zealand down to only a lot of health. Got 4 damage already.
Oh wait! They draw 2 cards off the Soup Vendor as well. That's nuts.
Okay. So no Nazoth here, and it's actually over the other way. Just about.
Oh,
No
that's
matter how much... Oh, that's Nazoth.
Yeah. I mean, that was a very good effort by China, you know. Like, they got a good amount of...
It's not over yet. Like, they could... The cartoon hasn't been played by New Zealand. So...
So many options.
They assuming they don't get another N'Zoth, obviously, they're going to get pretty low on health here. I'll stop hooing and help me out. I'm trying so hard.
Yeah, they can get the one N'Zoth back straight away, so like, yeah, okay, that's good. And they can shiv on the same turn to draw themselves the next N'Zoth quicker. Like,
Yeah.
I agree. This has been the best chance that China has to take the game 100%, but it feels like it's going to slip away very quickly from here.
I think it's gone, to be fair, but I was trying so hard just for a moment there.
You did a great job, Neil.
I'd convince me. That's all that matters.
Hero Power Plague blows up most of the board, yours included, sadly. So you go Hero Power, trade all your damaged minions away, and then Plague. One of your 3 remaining minions would be stolen. But that's not that bad. It's probably the best you're going to get. And then just, I don't know, pray that there's no more N'Zoths.
Honestly, I do think this turn you just play Elysiana and try and get good cards. Things that kill your opponent quickly over the top. Because you're not dying anytime soon as the warrior. Your 3/4s are annoying to kill by their 3/4s, so they won't do much help. Just play Elysiana and pick all direct damage.
They're trying to fatigue the rogue! And honestly, it's probably the best strategy.
Yeah, they're not doing much wrong. And, you know, I was a bit spiteful about the pick of this rogue, but this is what it's designed to do. It's designed to beat this warrior deck, and it does it very well. They were close to losing this by the standard that the matchup is set by, and they're still going to win it relatively easily, almost certainly.
I wonder.
Alright, boom, another one.
Another
I guess
one.
give your own guy first to get another space, but I don't even feel like that's worth it.
They only have like 5 N'Zoths, right? Or
Only.
6. No, like the scheme did. Yeah, it's not like the scheme ticked for 18
It's not
or something.
infinite. Yeah. That's true. They do have to be somewhat careful, I guess.
I think it is just the one scheme. I'm pretty sure it usually is. I say usually like it's a thing that's usual.
Choose soup.
Yeah, it's just the one scheme. You think that playing N'Zoth number 2 or 3 or whatever we're up to against Warrior as N'Zoth Rogue is the correct play? I agree.
Well, I was saying they could have gone for Self Shiv and then 8 mana N'Zoth in order to get an extra Kartut, but I think that would have been drawing them closer to fatigue when they don't need to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. What the plan is for the Togwaggle? I guess
Okay, then.
filling your hand with corrupted bloods is one way to lose. Just wait until your deck is 1 corrupted blood that your opponent puts in there at the end, and then you Togwaggle and fill your hand. Sounds like you could lose.
Okay.
I just
I guess
can't
it's actually-
think of a real world thing to say.
That probably gets them even closer to victory, right? If they can go gobble it and then just get...
Yeah.
Because the deck has to be like 90%.
I think it's only about 50%, like joking aside.
Okay.
Not that that really matters, but...
Another one. Is this a Tog turn? This feels like a decent Tog turn, right? While you have the mana.
What are you gonna make?
7 drop
What are you
out
gonna
of
get
it.
with it? Yeah, what are you gonna get?
Sorry.
With
Oh,
Tog?
sorry.
What is it like?
Gobble it, right? To fill up your hand
Sure.
with more N'Zoths. Like, I don't know. It's not good, but maybe that's bad. Actually, you're running out of cards. Yeah, maybe you go Crown. Yeah, probably just Crown actually.
Okay. Get some better death rattle minions that might finish the game, because you could do with a Sylvanas at some point to end this.
Or I guess
And
actually,
you're
sorry,
obviously going to win, but
I want to take that back. I think probably the best strategy here for Jack Attack is to like not play any more cards and then win
Yes.
through burning bloods, right? Because the only way he loses now, or sorry, the main way that he has a chance to lose is Hakar.
yes.
So if he just doesn't play any minions, then he doesn't lose to Hakar.
To be honest, I'm on board with the Mojo Master
This
Zihi
would be a
strategy
good
here.
time for a master
Sure.
plan.
Just lob out Elysiana and get a stupid legendary. Yeah, I think that's as good a chance as any.
And
I guess they've
but
got
then
to wait
don't
now
have
because they
Hakar.
still haven't drawn their Hakar. I see they're playing Hakar. I'm going to check.
Love that music.
They must be, right?
Yeah, I mean, they must be. I agree entirely, but
I thought I checked.
they're actually not.
They're actually not. You're kidding me. Oh wow.
So why aren't they playing? Yeah, so why aren't they playing Elysiana?
I mean, that just throws away most of the things I was even saying as being relevant. Out.
It just suddenly dawned on me that none of this made sense. So yeah, just
Well, then
play
there's
Elysiana.
Right? Jack Attack just win. Why aren't you playing Hakar?
So you have to play Elysiana several turns ago
Yeah, I agree.
to try and just find. Who knows what you might find? It's Hearthstone. You might find a whole bunch of hackers.
I'm almost out of cards.
Got to hang in there, Plague of Wrath, because that's really going to sort this problem out.
Yep, this is GG.
I'm angry now. We could have seen Elysiana in the real world on turn 12 or something.
Well, there we go. Whatever.
New Zealand,
Yeah, I
once again,
I
going
agree.
through the late stage. They've got to win one more to get to the top 16, but they are in the winners' match. With Thailand, I believe. I'm doing all that now, even though the actually game is continuing, because I wanted something.
Yeah, I am not seeing a way out of this one for Jack Attack. Sorry for Yu Ying. It's play there by Jack Attack. Good enough.
Yeah, it took a while to think of that one. Which Nazoth should he have played? And this is where Yu Ying asks Liz, why isn't there a Hakar in our deck? You told me
Hold
you submitted the other version.
Yeah.
This would be a good time for a master plan.
No, 12 turns ago would have been a good time for Master Plan.
Ah! Right. Brawl, Whirlwind, and then concede.
I mean, I guess, I always say this, but from where they're sat, maybe the 46
Yeah.
Nazoths in the deck are the bottom 5 cards.
The Explodinator.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's another 4 damage that might go face.
Yes. God, I'm losing my mind.
But I don't know what their plan was here.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't get angry at plays very often, because if I got angry at plays and Tim got angry at my plays, I would lose in the anger plays. But I do not understand for the life of me why Elysiana wasn't played many turns.
Yes, if there was a car, it makes sense. If not, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, the Hakar thing kept me strung along nicely, thanks for that. Because that did actually make some sense.
Yeah.
You can't
Right.
believe it. Another Nazoth is played.
Elysiana time now.
Got Brawl. Still got Brawl. Do you know the definition of madness, Darren? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result.
Oh my god. Watching Warrior play anything is definitely.
Maybe this time clearing the board will work.
Ah!
I think you should play Garath that, just in case your opponent doesn't play Nazoth.
Oh, I mean, it's a close one, but I think it might just work.
Yeah, I definitely fancy their chances here. Jack is managing to purvey smugness straight through the screen at us as well.
Oh, Jack Attack oozes smugness from his very
I
pores.
love it. Absolutely love it. And I hope that Pathra is being smug as well. She's definitely entitled to a bit of smugness. I know.
Whereas
I'd play
on the other hand,
Nazar.
ooze snugness because I've got a lovely wife.
The joys of being in Scotland in November. Oh, he didn't draw brawl. He instead drew take 2 damage. That's unfortunate.
Security rover. I mean, if he can get 3 of them and get a gold security rover, then maybe we're talking. But until then, it is Jack Attack. The victory for New Zealand. They go on to face Thailand in the upper bracket, and sadly for China, they're going to have to go down to the losers bracket to play against South Korea in the match coming up later today.
In the losers bracket match.
In the
Yeah.
losers bracket.
So the winner of this next match, Thailand and New Zealand, will go through. But overall, joking aside, I don't think we learned too much about the Rogue deck there because we knew it was good against Warrior. It didn't really have much going on in the other 2 games. So jury still out for me. But one thing is for sure, it beats Warrior.
It really, really does. It didn't feel like there was much of a chance there for the Warrior. There was like a little window when the N'Zoth came down where if Jack Attack hadn't seen the play of Togwaggle scheme on the opposing N'Zoth, which was pretty heads up, that clearly indicates a good understanding of the matchup, maybe he could have lost from there because he wouldn't have found the N'Zoth of his own. But I think after that point, it was pretty clear he couldn't lose.
Yeah, absolutely. I need to find out why you don't play the Elysiana there. Just look for lucky things. But I'm sure somebody will enlighten me. People love to do that. But that is the first 2 games of Group B in the books. We're going to get set up ready for that qualification match. So we'll be back in 3.